The U.S. Postal Service has reversed its brief suspension of shipments from China and Hong Kong after initially halting them in response to a new tariff policy under President Trump. The decision followed changes eliminating the de minimis exception, which previously allowed low-value packages to enter the U.S. duty-free. Retailers like Shein and Temu, which have benefited from the exemption, now face increased tariffs and duties. As both the U.S. and China impose retaliatory tariffs, trade disruptions remain a concern. Welcome to episode 1797, coming to this Thursday, February 6th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran, ready to deliver your tech news and information fix. A quick shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. To all our fantastic listeners, you are the heartbeat of the show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're live and lit thanks to modern podcast apps. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. While you're at it, check out the full Geek News Central universe at geeknewscentral.com, where you'll find all the partner shows, tons of content, and more tech goodness. Of course, stay in the loop. Follow or subscribe to your favorite podcasts and join the community. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for even more insider scoops. Have something to say? Join the conversation at geeknews.chat or email me directly, geeknews@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on X at Geek News, and you can even catch me on Facebook. We definitely appreciate our longtime sponsor, GoDaddy. You can save large on GoDaddy products and services. All you got to do is get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Want to start a website, a podcast? Our GoDaddy promo codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full year of hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and an SSL certificate. Grab or click the promo code. And of course, if you're a WordPress fan, we have WordPress Managed Hosting for just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. Do you just need a domain name only? Get yours for just $11.99. And if you're testing the waters for a website, try GoDaddy's Website Builder. GoDaddy's Website Builder is a free 30-day trial on personal, business, or business plus plans. Of course, Geek News Central uses all of the GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our code, save money, and back this independent team of creators. Share my deals with your family and friends, because every time a code is used, it's just like writing a check to the Geek News Central team. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong. Hey everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. I had I will call this week probably the most intense planning and orchestrating week I've had in a long, long time. Keeping everyone busy, keeping everyone focused, keeping their nose to the grindstone. It's just been a week. It has. I'm quite ready, to be honest with you. I'm quite ready for the weekend. In a big way. I delayed going to the VA on Tuesday, so I'm going tomorrow morning. I gotta get some blood taken. They're gonna check my sugar level and cholesterol and all that stuff that's going on. So we'll see where I am at, and I'm sure it's gonna be lecture time, but that's kind of the way it is at time. Hey, those on YouTube, thanks for saying hello. And it says Garth Roselle, welcome to the Club America. Funny how nowhere mention AliExpress. It's a marketing that still has the ability to take VAT during checkout. UK used to have a $15 exemption. And then hi, Brian here from Tampa. Yeah, we'll talk just in a second about USPS and what's going on there. But for those of you that are bourbon lovers, do you see what's right there? don't know if I talked about it on the last show. I've had 2 or 3 bottles of bourbon on my wish list for more than a year. Eagle Rare, which that is from the Buffalo Trace family, has been on my list for a while, and I scored. I scored one last weekend. I like the Buffalo Trace. Again, this is not an ad, and again, drink alcohol, be safe on how much you consume, but I am a big Buffalo Trace fan, and it's got all the big names: Stag, E.H. Taylor. It's got Pappy Van Winkle. It's got Eagle Rare. It's got just all these different mixtures. Weller, of course, another bottle that's on my list. But finally, I scored me an Eagle Rare, and oh my goodness, is it even delicious? Now, I paid about $20 above retail, which I was happy to do. And the bourbon thing, there's certain bourbons I don't really care for too much. They end up going into mixers. But the Buffalo Trace family, I don't know what it is. I really do like that particular bourbon. Any other Buffalo Trace fans out there? And if anyone's got a Weller, has got any of these Thomas R. Handy's, any of these type of really super rare bourbons that are on allocations, hey, I'll gladly pay shipping. If you find one. If you are someplace and find a Stag, and it's not insane, of course, you have to know if it's insane or not. If you get a bourbon lover, you know what's insane from a price. Always feel free to text me. I'll cash app you. Yes, I know you can buy online on secondary, but I'm not paying secondary prices, okay? Don't need it that bad. But yeah, I am going to partake on this tomorrow, considering the week that I've had. It's been insane. One thing I will also mention, and I don't know if any of you else have been following, but my evenings when I just get a little time to kick back and just been crushed with all the madness going out of DC, and I'm had to this week take a little bit of break and go find some other stuff to watch. One thing I also seen, and it's even evident tonight, there's a whole bunch, of super biased tech news that's out there of everything that's going on in DC. And everyone has lost their damn mind about Elon Musk and Doge. It's just crazy. Hey, Leland, how are you? Thanks for checking in on Facebook. You can send a few pictures over. Oh, you've got a little bit of a bourbon collection, do you? But anyway, it's just the tech news is super biased, and I don't care what side of the politics you're on. Anytime we can get rid of frivolous spending, even if it's $1, I'm all good for it. We can still do what we need to do with the world, but let's get rid of the frivolous stuff. And I've talked long and hard about over the years on this show and how government contracts work and the waste and the insanity that goes into that. So there is room for efficiencies just to save money just on efficiencies. So we'll see if any of that actually gets done. I'm be honest with you, I continue to be skeptical that they'll make any negligible impact, but it's definitely interesting to watch for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get into the stack of stuff today. We'll start right off with this situation that happened with USPS and how they have reversed course. It sent shockwaves through the. And matter of fact, this is written by our own Jen Thorpe. She put this together on the website. The U.S. Postal Service on Wednesday halted an order that was going to suspend incoming shipments from China and Hong Kong to threaten severely disrupt trade between two major economies. Now, How many of you have ordered anything? Maybe you've had a wife or girlfriend order stuff from Shein. That company's real super popular with the ladies. Temu's another popular site. Alibaba, any of these places where you can get stuff from China. And you've always wondered, how's this stuff come in so cheap, right? It just comes in, they can ship it in. And I've ordered stuff from Alibaba in the past. To haven't say that I haven't. But what's happening now is they've suspended the minimum. So basically, stuff that was under $800 didn't have to pay duty. And now that stuff is above anything, and I don't know if there's a $10, $15, or any limit, but they ended the policy that allowed small packages worth $800 less to be sent to America without paying taxes and fees. And that is not the case now. So these online giants use the exemption really to benefit their own companies. And, there's similar rules in the UK and European Union as well to reach millions of customers with this exception. Now, the explosion of parcels being shipped under the loophole has prompted increased scrutiny in recent years. We've talked about this in the past. So this trade loophole really drove this explosive growth for those bargain sites. But now that really is going to change. And essentially everything is going to go to, I think, at least 35% duty. So what cost $100 before is now $145 or $135. And so it's going to be a big impact. Very, 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 very big impact. And one of the commenters on YouTube, and I'm sorry I'm having to squint, trouble is some of the parts I can only buy from China. Some have such a low demand that no local store could afford to keep those stocked. Cables alone are a compatible lottery for eGPUs, as tariffs were coming and then delayed. Currency exchange rate drastically changed. I saved 15 pounds by watching the currency exchange rates on a mini PC, so it's probably true. Now, Leland says Dodge is a kicking. Yes, it is. So we knew there was going to be pain. This is not a surprise. And getting your electronics are going to cost more. It just will. I've decided when I go back to the Philippines, I'm going to take a Mac Mini with me. And got an extra one here, so I'm going to take that with me. And I'm not, I don't have to buy one. I've got one that's perfectly well to go, but I needed I wanted to have a extension for it, basically a hub. So I went online today thinking, oh man, I'm going to get hammered. But they had hubs still in stock that are already here. So if you've got things that you think that you want to buy, you need to buy right now. You need to go before the price increase, before the stock runs out, and they have to ship stuff in from China. So if you've been sitting on something that you've been thinking about getting, go immediately and order, because all this stuff is going to see a dramatic increase here. And I got to thinking about it today, and I'm thinking, I need cables? Do I need, so I was really kind of doing like a bit of an accounting around here. Do I need any dongles? Do I need, I was just thinking, even so far as to thinking about memory. And of course, memory luckily comes comes mostly out of Taiwan, some out of Korea. So what's going to happen is you're going to start to see huge price disparity on Amazon or wherever else you shop, where it depends on where stuff originates. So if it comes out of Taiwan, no effect. Comes out of Hong Kong or China, big effect. So again, it's because of this minimum shipping change. It's going to have a huge effect. So just be aware until this thing kind of washes through. We're gonna see. So Leland says, how much do you think most of the equipment will go up? I think they're going to lower price. Now, this is the key, too. The China manufacturers are making so much money on this stuff. They have such a markup because it costs them nothing. Their labor is essentially slave labor. So material costs and a minimal amount of, so they're already got a margin. So they may lower their price, get a smaller margin just to offset the duty. Leland, I think it could be 25%. Can a manufacturer take a 35% cut? Now, they were already paying 20. Here's the difference. How they got around this previous duty was, let's say they sent stuff to an Amazon warehouse. As long as the shipping on that was under $800, no duty. But that's gone. So now anything they ship is going to be 35%. There'll be a 35% tariff on it. So, so this is where the delta is. And all of us that have bought anything that it comes from China that has been delivered in a flat that's had one or two pieces of product in it, 35%. But they're going to lower the price as much as they can, but it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt their profit margins, which, cry me a river. This is why American companies have not been able to compete. I've said this for a long, long time. And now the economics is going to start impacting. Yeah, it's going to cost us more. And with what happened with Canada and Mexico and that being waived for 30 days, we'll see. Again, this is a big bargaining chip, and I saw something where even in our own country, people are freaking out. But I think what it is, someone's playing chess and the other people are playing checkers here. Will it pan out and work out for everything? Who knows? But this is why I had to kind of just make sure I wasn't watching it, because it was just bam, 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 bam. And X, if any of you been on X, good Lord. I mean, it's just nonstop. And it's entertaining, to say the least. I know I'm sure there's many of you, at least 50% of you, this aggravates the piss out of you. I'm sure it does. But this thing on the shipping. So we'll see what USPS does with this. But Garth says, when the UK changed, changed from 15 minimum to an exception, we had about a 2 months notice. Why didn't America give such a reasonable notice period? Well, during the run up to the election, he was saying exactly what he was. This is not news to anyone here in the United States. He said he was going to do this. October, November. We knew this was coming, so it's not a surprise. But again, going back to, and again, this, I don't want to get into politics of this, but again, he said from a Canada and Mexico standpoint, this is not a trade war. This is a drug war. They just want to stop drug and people coming across the border, trying to get the fentanyl to stop. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this has been wild. And we'll see what happens within the tech sector. Of course, the almighty Super Bowl is coming. And I'm not a big, I will watch the Super Bowl. My mom texted me a little earlier that my brother-in-law is cooking wings, and, there's people coming over. And, to be honest with you, I might rather sleep on Sunday than watch the Super Bowl. But the commercials this year, there are going to be regional ads and national ads. So what some of you may see in New York will not be what I see in here in Michigan, but there'll be some that'll be national. And one of them is a Google Gemini Super Bowl ad that they've already released. It's 2 minutes, and it's just some dude basically doing a mock interview with Google Gemini for 2 minutes as his kids are running around. It's a well done ad, and essentially he practices a job interview with Google Gemini and then directly then sits down and does a real world interview. Do you think that's where we're at? So watch the video. I'd love to hear your feedback. geeknews@gmail.com. In a very interesting move, CISA, and we know who CISA is, right? The Department of Homeland Security Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency was initially excluded from the broader U.S. government offer to take the deferred resignation offer, in part due to the role in national security and defending critical infrastructure. Apparently, yesterday, because only 60,000 people have accepted basically the 8-month severance, and it wasn't enough, some CISA staffers were given an offer in just hours to decide whether to accept it or not. So it's being thought that they were they weren't getting enough people. So the offer did not go to everyone. There was exceptions. And so it's interesting that they select, and I'd be interesting to know who those select people were. What roles did they have that they offered? Were they administrative types or were they techie types? So government cybersecurity employees are panicking over the level of unfettered access given to the Doge team. You know, I've talked about this before, and I did the federal thing, so I understand how it works. We could never get, and to people I worked with before, I'm sorry, but programmers and IT administrators that have government, aka government jobs, a federal employee job, very easily could have went out in the public sector and made a lot more money, because of the caps. You go look at the general service scale, and most of those CISA folks are probably GS-12s. Not because what it does is GS-12, GS-13. The higher you go in the GS scale, the narrower number of people that are actually getting those pay rates. So probably the majority of those CISA and other IT officials are 12s. Administrators are 13s. The top bosses are 14s. You just don't go to 14. 12 and 13 is a relatively easy jump. If you have the time, there's a job position, so, but again, you go look at that GS scale, and let's just look at it. Let's go and look at the GS pay scale, and you guys will understand what I'm talking about. Government service. Yeah, I typed it wrong. GS scale. So here's the general schedule. Salary tables. So let's look for 2025, and let's look at the GS. Come on. Of course, it's not bringing it right up. It's usually very simple. Okay, 2025 GS pay table. All right. So all right, if you are a GS-12, and it's based on steps. So, example, if you get hired as a GS-12 step 4, there's a period of time you have to wait before you go from a step 4 to a step 5. It might be 2 years. Sometimes it takes 3 years to make the step up. So a GS-12 in a regional area that basically has no cost of living extras. In other words, if you're in Washington D.C., you're going to get some more money. It's a COLA or something to that effect. But if you're a GS-12 Step 4 or Step 5, that's like $85,000 a year. Now let me take that up to a Step 10, and I think it takes someone to get to Step 10 like 20 years. That's $98,000. So that's as high as you can go. 98 grand. A GS13 is 117, a GS14 138. Now, you get up in the GS15 level, that's $162,000 a year at Step 10. But a Step 1 is 125. But if you are GS12, Step 5, making 85, now if you are GS12, a Step 10, making $98,000, and you get promoted to GS13, there is some, you can't make less money. They don't allow you when you get promoted to make less money. So you were at $98,422, and you would jump as a GS13 to a Step 4 at $99,028, or actually probably $98,422. You do your couple of years time or whatever to get to $99,028. So even at 13, you're still under $100,000. Now we take into COLA and those types of considerations, locality pay. And if you are a government employee, not a contractor, let's just be clear about that. That's your salary, $120,000, $125,000 at the, very kind of high ends of some of those steps that most of these people are at. How much can you make as a IT or a cybersecurity person on the outside? You can make a hell of a lot more money. A lot more money. So the programmers that I had to deal with that were government on the GS scale, they weren't that good. Sorry. They weren't that good. Now, exception, when I worked with national labs, they're on a whole different pay scale. They're not on the GS level. It's a whole different pay scale, and they get paid accordingly. We're not talking about SES. We're not talking about senior executive service, which is the next level up beyond GS15. And again, that number of people in those positions are rare, and they're usually government people. They are not, and they're money and oversight people. They're not programmers. So when they talk about allowing a 20-year-old genius to come in and work on an IT system in the U.S. government, that individual might be making $250,000 on the outside and may have equivalent or more education on modern systems than the people working the systems today. I know I'm going to get pissed people off here. And I understand. I get it. But why could we never really... Why are so many contracts made to have stuff go out and be programmed? Why does stuff go to Johns Hopkins where there's really smart people? Some of the stuff I used to work on was managed and coded by Johns Hopkins. Very, very smart people. Very. Making big money. Big money. PhDs. Super smart people. So there's a segment of the government work that goes out to the big brains. But when you're talking about internal, in the office, and you're a staffer, don't know. Don't know. But you have different levels of stuff. You have technical representatives. The job descriptions across the federal government are wide. You have NATEC. You have government reps that sit in the seats embedded in military units that are there as a technical expertise. And they're GS-12, GS-13. They're making 80, 90, 100,000 a year. Very smart people getting paid an appropriate salary for their knowledge level. But I've always said on the IT side, it is what it is. I'm sure I'm going to get some feedback here. But to say they don't know what they're doing and they're letting these young people in, okay. They have read-only access, by the way. So the CISA thing is just one part of this. What say you? geeknews@gmail.com. What say you? What say you? I want to hear from you. Leland says, I'm okay with loss of profits versus banning access to goods. Oh, so we're talking about the tariff still. So thanks, Leland, for weighing in tonight. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on here. Work from home. Don't claim the home office tax deduction unless you have a side kicking job. So I work from home, and I get a regular W-2 from my company, from Raw Voice. I sit at a desk. I work at that desk all day long. But when I come here and do this show in my little cubby and using up 150 square feet of space, I've got storage that's, that's claimed for the business. This is my separate business. So technically, I could deduct a portion of the rent I pay and my taxes. But here's what I do. The IRS loves to nitpick when they audit you. They love to nitpick. So what I like to do is always leave a little on the bone. I don't claim any of my space that I'm using here in my home as a tax deduction. I don't, and it wouldn't be that much, based on the percentage of floor space I'm using and my rent. So you pay your rent times 12, your insurance, whatever that total is, you take all that up, heat, electricity, blah, 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 that grand total of a year for what it costs you to live somewhere. And if you're using 10% or 15 or 20% of your space, and let's say that's $20,000, just use a number, and you're using 20% of the space, well, 20% by 0.20 times 20,000, $4,000. I could potentially claim, I think that's right, normally 20,000. I could claim, did I say 10? Well, anyway, you guys got it. And I could write that off. I could. But if I've made a $4,000 accounting error down the road, and Uncle Sugar wants to come after me to penalize me for a mistake in my taxes for the amount of $4,000, I could have an abridged tax submission to claim that, to offset a mistake I potentially. Now, I don't try to make any mistakes on my taxes. I've been through too many audits. It's not fun. And not fun at all. Because they look at everything. They look at your credit card receipts. They look at everything. So, separation of church and state. I have a business card. I put business expenses on. Personal card. I buy personal stuff. Cat food. Towels. Beans. That all goes on personal. New computer. Lights. All that goes on the business card. Keeps them separate. And if I mistakenly buy something on my business card that was supposed to be personal, I have to reimburse through my personal checking account back to the company. And I have to make a notation that I reimbursed. You can get hit on an audit for doing that. You do that too many times, you can get in trouble. So I have that annotation in my taxes, said, hey, I had to pay back $262, put it on the wrong account, and make sure that transaction shows. And I write a check deposit it in my bank accounts because I want a piece of paper. I just don't want to I could probably transfer it. But work from home? Don't claim the home office tax deduction before you read the article I linked to. So you guys are getting some super value out of the show tonight. Leland says, the day we say no to income tax is the day we actually become free citizens. Leland also, as far as I'm concerned, the IRS can take a flying leap. As much as I send them every year, I could have retired. I could have retired already on the amount of money I send the IRS every year. I'd had no problem. I could have punched out. They take so much. If you really look how much they take. Kwikset launches 2 new smart locks with Z-Wave support. And as a private, doing a private business on my own, the taxes I pay, oh my God. Kwikset, a manufacturer of both traditional and smart locks, officially released the Home Connect 918 and the Home Connect 620. So this is using Z-Wave. So you don't have to be close to the hub. So Kwikset, I like their products and services. The lock I have on my door downstairs, my steel door downstairs, is got a Kwikset lock on it. So here is a hit piece. Trump's EPA to prioritize AI, lobbyists, and staff cuts in mission to traumatize. That's the title of the article. I'm not even going to go into it because you can already see by the header of it what the tone is going to be. Here's another one. Elon Musk Doge storms federal weather forecast headquarters. Doge's hostile corporate takeover and proposals to privatize a key science agency could make it harder to get weather forecasts. There's no proof to that. What is wrong with this country in wanting to lower the amount of money the government is spending? What is wrong? What is there to hide? I can get audited. You can get audited. I don't know about those of you in the UK or anywhere else, but if the IRS sends you a letter to audit you, that puts the fear of God into you. They have the power to put you in jail and take your stuff away, seal your bank accounts, enjoin you from doing anything, prevent you from leaving the country. Yet we get upset when 6 or 7 Doge team members goes in and says, let us look at the books. Let us look at your IT systems. A current NOAA employee who was granted anonymity because of the risk of retaliation tells The Verge that ahead of an external audit, staff have been instructed to fully delete or take down any material related to DEI, whether it's public available online, on internal sites, or in physical office spaces. Government web pages for other federal agencies have already removed content. The employee tells The Verge that posters with information has also been taken down from their chat rooms and websites or employee resource groups have also gone down. Well, I think they've learned that there has been a bunch of attempts to avoid actions in the past. So they're just going to have to get together face to face and talk about it. QWERTY Keys halts keyboard shipments to the U.S. over tariff costs and confusion. A keyboard company, QWERTY Keys, has temporarily halted all shipments to the United States. The company says it's working on ways to mitigate shipping costs and that tariffs have made it so that all keyboards from China to the U.S. now are subjected to 45% tariffs at full value. We're closely watching the progress of the situation. Really hope there's something else we can do other than bumping the price up. QWERTY Keys says partner DHL now requires prepayment of 50% of the declared product value as a tariff deposit, plus a $21 processing fee per package that would drastically raise the price for customers in the U.S. Why don't we start making some stuff here? That's the question I have. Leland says the only people complaining are the ones spending it. You know, I've been involved in the game. I held 2 pots of money when I was my last couple of years in the military. Fuel money for airplanes and basically gear like weather gear, coats, jackets, boots, stuff that's essentially consumable that can go away, cleaning supplies, that type of stuff. And I was given a budget every year, and we would allocate to the squadrons based upon their needs, if they're deploying or not. And I got really good at making sure people got what they needed. And my predecessor before me, it was basically made it hard on people. But I said, listen, if you're going on deployment and you're going to a cold weather zone, or let's say you're going to Afghanistan in the winter and you only have summer wear, then put in the requisition, write it up, give me the numbers, give me the total cost, and I'll send it up the chain of command and get you money. And 95% of the time, the stuff that came through me asking for more money was based on a need that was justified. I knew all the people I was working for, or working for, I was working for them. I was basically the money man, and I would send that up to the wing, and really probably in 4 or 5 days, I would get an approval. I'd get their money and I would distribute it into their accounts. And but when it got down to the end of the quarter, if a certain squadron had not used all their fuel money, let's say they had $25,000 left in fuel money, and they weren't going to be able to fly it off. They they'd done all their training, done all their required flights, but another group was short. I would pull that money out and put it in the other squadron, and we'd burn the fuel. And there's a saying: use it or lose it. So we were trained: use it or lose it, because if you spend $500,000 in jet fuel, or let's say $1 million a year. Actually, I think we're spending $1.6 million a year in jet fuel, and you only use $1.5 million 1 year, because maybe just the way things worked out, but you knew we were going to need $1.6 million the next year, because I forecasted out 3 years. We'd have to burn it, because if you used $1.5 million, the budget people would say, "Oh, they need $1.5 million. We'll give them $1.5 million the next year," and then I'd have to be begging, borrowing, stealing to try to get more fuel money the following year. So the idea of use it or lose it is ingrained throughout the federal government. It doesn't have to be that way. Why couldn't have I said, "Hey, we only need $1.5 million this year. We'll give the extra $100,000 back to the U.S. government, and then next year give me my $1.6 million again, because I know I'm going to need $1.6 million next." But they don't work that way. The whole system doesn't work that way. But it's all about the comptroller. I was a comptroller for 2 budget lines of 13. And no one likes spending money. I had some requests come in one time for some Ray-Bans, and I'm like, you're not getting Ray-Bans. Why do you need Ray-Bans? Why do these guys need Ray-Bans? They've already got government issued glasses if they need to wear glasses, and they can get government issued sunglasses, which are a lot cheaper than, the birth control glasses, a lot cheaper than Ray-Bans. You don't need to be styling on the flight line. No, you're not getting Ray-Bans. So it wasn't like I was giving everything for what they wanted. No. But if it was justified, if you're going to a summer location, let's say you're going to Diego Garcia and you're going to be there for 6 months, and you're asking me for winter wear, okay, how many detachments are going to somewhere where it's cold from Diego Garcia? Well, only 2. A crew of 40. Okay, that's different. I can authorize cold weather gear for 40 people instead of 240. And, oh, by the way, 2 years from now, don't ask me for that winter weather gear again, because I bought it once. It needs to be turned in and reissued. So, it is possible to manage the money good and not allow stupidity to go on. So I would have no problem if Doge walked into my office and says, show me your books. Open up the computer. Here it is. Go ahead. Audit me. Fine. I can justify every penny. So Leland says, sound justified to me. Also, what they're finding is just how the government has conspired to spend as little as possible on actual services provided and pocketing the rest through shell companies. That's a whole nother show, Leland, right there. All right, you guys bored with me already? Google Magic Editor will watermark its AI-tweaked photos. And again, I've been away from government for a long time, so things could have changed. I just know what I know from a while ago. So again, Google Magic Editor will watermark its AI-tweaked photos. Some security updates make Google Chrome so much better, a.k.a. password sharing, group sharing of passwords. If you're part of a family group, you can send credentials through Google Password Manager Share feature. But you can do so on PC too. Yeah, nothing bad's going to happen there. Sharing with only a group is a free feature, but Google's seeming logic makes sense. Arguably, you'd rely on share passwords with family members, at least anyone close enough to be considered family. Yeah, that's why my mom has a master password to my password app, because if I stroke out, the only way you're getting into any of my stuff is if you don't have that password, you're screwed. You don't have the password to my phone, you're screwed. That's just the way it is. Apple's M5 chip is rumored to be in mass production, but we're still waiting on M4 MacBook Airs. So Apple's believed stepping up the production of M5 is currently slated for later this year or early 2026. It is reported to stick with the TSMC 3 nanometer process, with the Apple yet to make a move to the 2 nanometer, which offers even greater power and efficiency. And I will say one thing about Apple: they will move when they're ready. Ransomware payments declined in 2024 despite massive well-known hacks. So how much did we send? Extortion payments totaled $814 million in 2024. $814 million. Almost $1 billion. 2023, it was $1.25 billion. Just insane how much money's... Who's getting that money? NASA's unveiled a new space telescope more powerful than James Webb, aimed at providing a clear understanding of the universe's beginnings. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Sphere? Remember us talking about Sphere? I don't remember talking about this, but I'm sure we have. We know the James Webb telescope cost $10 billion when it launched in 2021. Took, 10 or 20 years to build. With the exciting new piece of kit, it only cost $488 million. Here's what happened. Technology is getting better. Stuff is able to be done smaller. When they started building the James Webb telescope, probably 20 years ago, components were this big. Now they're that big. So of course stuff is cheaper. So the spectrophotometer. Mirrors will help uncover new points of interest. So when's this scheduled to launch? February 27th. Who's going to launch that? SpaceX? Probably. iPhone 7 owners are getting $200 in class action lawsuit. If you acted on this before, yes, you will score. You will score your $200. You were going to get 3, but it was reduced. Hey, I do want to thank those who have been using a new podcast app and streaming sats. Pestmerk, thank you so much on the last show for streaming sats, 20 sats per minute. That's a healthy donation for the whole show. Greatly appreciated that you did that. Thank you so much. We've had no new boost come in, so that's a couple shows in a row on that. As we talked about on our last show, we've got this new sponsor here, and I really am impressed with their lineup. Again, Valentine's Day is just 8 days away. And the next show, I'll have stuff for the ladies, for you guys to buy for the ladies. Tired of bulky wallets and jangling keys? Meet Distill Union, where sleek designs meets problem-solving essentials. Distill Union's Wally wallets keep your cards and cash secure. Crafted from premium full-grain leather and built to last, these everyday carry essentials blend durability with a minimalistic. So I like a thin, small wallet. And here's the best part. I've locked in the highest discount for all of you. 20% off product. Now, the website says 15, but we're getting you 20. So distillunion.com. Distillunion.com, and you can use the promo code GeekNews at checkout. Upgrade your wallet carry, not your concealed carry. And simplify your life with Distill Union, DISTIL Union.com. And we had no new donor donations come in this event. But again, if you're thinking about becoming an insider, definitely do. And also check out distillunion.com. Bill Gates has got it right. Intel, what has happened with Intel? They have lost their way. He's stunned how far behind Intel has fallen compared to NVIDIA. And you guys know I've talked about it before. I have some Intel stock. Jeez. Come on. I want to retire someday. Probably not because of Intel. Global tablet shipments grew 9% in 2024, according to latest data from Canalys. Worldwide tablet shipments grew 5.6 year on year, reaching 39.9 million units. Warner Brothers is doing something interesting. They're streaming full movies for free on YouTube. It's a strange assortment of obscure oddities. One's an Eddie Murphy's dreadful Pluto Nash movie. So there's like 40 of these that they have released. So for free. No DMCA. 30 of them. No DMCA. So Michael Collins, Waiting for the Guffman, The Mission, Death Trap. These are like 86, 96. Dungeons and Dragon movie, Hot to Trot, 1988. The Eddie Murphy's Adventure of Pluto Nash, 2002. So again, these have all been very curiously released by Warner Brothers on YouTube. Maybe if they decide we're not making no money on these things, we're going to just do that. Hacker targeted NATO U.S. Army arrested in Spain. Spanish authorities arrested an individual allegedly hacked several high-profile organizations. They described him as a dangerous hacker who was arrested in the town of Calippi in Spain's Alicante province. And they identified him having more than 50 cryptocurrency accounts. And, this dangerous hacker, 18 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He hacked NATO, and he hacked the U.S. Army. So let's let that sink in. An 18-year-old who is a dangerous hacker hacked NATO and hacked the U.S. Army, yet we have 6 or 7 individuals from Doge that are in their 20s. Okay. Android 16 to feature major health updates starting with Fitbit. So if you're an Android user, and of course Android 15 was just launched a few months ago, and they're already looking at Android 16. So this edition could improve how users interact with their health data. I just want to be able to take my blood glucose without having to prick my finger. I can't afford the patch. That thing costs like $1,200 a month or some ridiculous number. My insurance won't cover it. I just don't want to have to poke my finger to check blood glucose. Amazon drops unsubtle hints that Alexa AI it didn't respond. I have an Alexa in here that's listening. Is landing soon. 3 things to expect from the new voice agent. It might cost you more, $5 to $10 a month. No. Could be an autonomous AI agent. No. Amazon literally spelled Alexa, teasing at this major update. Oh, those are the 3 things. Will it be worth it? No. How many of you using DeepSeek? Even I talked about it. Anybody willing to fess up? More Windows 11 patch woes, this time with mouse pointers acting up. So, don't do the optional update, the KB 5050094 patch. Don't go there. You know, oh, this next article is from you guess who? Politico. You got $8 million from U.S. aid. A bill banning social media for youngsters advance. The Senate Commerce Committee approved legislation Wednesday to ban children under 13 from social media by limiting access. The bill hopes to address youth anxiety, depression, and linked social media. You know something, ladies and gentlemen? How come the rest of us were too stupid to get some of this free money? I should have applied for some U.S. aid money. How about you? Don't you think Geek News Central could have, couldn't this show have gotten like, I'd have take 500,000. That'd run the show for 5 years. Been fat. We could have hired someone else. I don't need 8 million. Just give me cool 500,000. Why not? Giving everyone else money, right? At least I'll tell you the truth. With my angle on it. Don't you think? I'm just, how come I didn't form an NGO? We're just dumb. Those that are smart have been the one that's been on the lam, that's been on the take. Those of us that work an honest 9 to 5, that pay our taxes, go sit on jury pools, do all the things you do as a good citizen, How do I get some of that money? Now, I would have never have done that. But, it makes you go, huh, doesn't it? So, the Senate Commerce Committee approved legislation Wednesday to ban children under 13 from social media. Oh, that'll work. The panel approved by the Kids of Social Media Act, sponsored by the panel's chair, Texas Republican Ted Cruz, and Democrat on the panel, Hawaii's Brian Schatz. Oh, there's a piece of work. I liked Brian before. By voice vote clearing the way for consideration of the full Senate, only Ed Markey, Democrat, Massachusetts, asked to be recorded as a no on the bill. So it's true, when you get Ted Cruz and Senator Ed Schwartz agreeing on something, that's saying something. Now the question is, will it get voted on in the House? The Commerce Committee will likely take up more online safety legislation. So what do you think about banning your 13-year-old and younger from using social media? Isn't that a parent thing to do? Isn't that parents' responsibility? Crazy, huh? Robot dogs learned bomb disposal tricks in trials. Yeah, if you have a robot, you can blow the robot up. You can teach a robotic dog new tricks. The trials led by Ministry of Defense scientists and carried out at the Defense Science and Technology Lab. This was in the UK, by the way. Involved a number of robotic systems. It's hoped that this early experiment could eventually revolutionize bomb disposal and significantly reduce risk to personnel, both in Britain and overseas. So they worked alongside both British and international companies like L3 Harris. I'm familiar with L3 Harris. Marble Communications and AeroVironment, Tomahawk Robotics. And the pilot study involved a number of scenarios where a robot was required to perform tasks such as opening and closing doors, navigating stairs, and inspecting IEDs. And it was also equipped with carbon fiber disruptors. So, in other words, fire. So, very, very cool. Workday has laid off, and I don't know who Workday is. Workday laid off 1,750 employees, citing demand for AI. In other words, they replaced the employees with AI. Anybody know who Workday is? What do they cover? The Veterans Affairs has reboots Oracle Health Records project for $330 million. Concerns around unfixed problems remain after system resulted in harm to some 150 patients. Wow. The new payments relate to a $300 million agreement for optimization of the electronic health record management system and $29 million for identity access management support enhancements. The deal means Oracle will also be used to support medical facilities already using software in Spokane, Walla Walla, Washington, Columbus, Ohio, Rosenberg, and White City, Oregon. Nothing to say about the one I go to in Battle Creek, Michigan. So we'll see if this continues to be a bad investment. Volkswagen is unveiling a $21,000 entry in EV in March. The small EV will make it proper debut in 2027. And it's going to be available in Europe first, not in America, of course. And Amazon announced their fourth quarter results. Net sales increased 10% to $187.8 billion. And excluding the $0.9 billion unfavorable impact from year-over-year charges, so how much money did they make? Operating income increased to $21.2 billion in the fourth quarter compared to $13.2 billion prior to 2023. So net income increased to $20 billion. So, all right, it goes through all the details. If you're interested, they made money. Don't worry, they didn't lose money. And ChatGPT has dropped its sign-in requirements for search. OpenAI is making its AI search engine more accessible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I was definitely on a rant today, but, if you want to, I love Buffalo Trace Bourbon. You definitely, a donation in kind of a Stag or a Blanton's would be wonderful. An Antique 107, sure, why not? Yeah, okay. So I'm pushing the wrong button here. The email, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on X. And, of course, I'm on Facebook. Did you enjoy today's show? Been a bit of rant. I kind of enjoyed it, actually. Reminds me of the old days. We're not going to be able to keep up with the news. I think it's just too much information overload at this point. We'll see how it affects the tech sphere. Don't forget, if you had something techie you're going to buy, get her done. Get her done before the prices go up, before stock runs out. And remember, places don't keep too much stock. That's why they have those big ships coming across the ocean with containerfuls of all those electronic goods that we all love to buy. So the hammer is coming. 45% increase. My kitty cat's down here. I'm not going to lift him up. He's clawed me twice already. Here's something wrong with him. He's gotten real big in the middle, and he's skinny front and back. I don't understand. I don't get it. Last year he was plump all the way through during the winter. He's just getting old. His new food hasn't arrived yet, so it's supposed to be, I think, here tomorrow. So keep an eye out for it. I'll be back here with you on Monday. I thank everyone for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget about me and being an insider. You can always make a donation, although I can't use the donation to buy liquor. That's not a legal write-off. So I can't use money that you donate to buy the juice. You can send me a bottle, and that can be a donation. I think actually from tax standpoint, I have to claim that. So, but I'd rather claim it as a gift than pay for the juice. All right, everyone. We'll see you back here on Monday. We're on the march to 1800. Not that far away. So be good out there. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.